Good evening. My name is Jim Bordas. Now, the reason I'm speaking from this video is because I'm in Washington, D.C. as you're holding this banquet. My wife and I are at a wedding that we had planned for about 2 months to attend. The reason that I'm even speaking is because I think so highly of Clyde and Ann Thomas. You know, when I was a young boy, I first had my introduction to a black leader that inspired me. His name was Booker T. Washington. I wrote my term paper about Booker T. Washington as a senior in high school and thought this was certainly the most impressive individual I'd met at that time, met through reading. He was from Malden, West Virginia, which was right close to Charleston. Later on, I attended and graduated from West Virginia State College. That is a school that is unlike many of the colleges and universities in our state in that most of the students at that time, that was 1964, were black students who lived on campus. The professors were mostly black too. The brightest professors probably that I've ever had. And I was inspired by a black professor, the first professor, teacher that ever really gave me confidence in myself, and his name was Herman Canaday. He taught business law. It was in large part because of Mr. Canaday that I attended and graduated from West Virginia University College of Law. It was about the same time that I heard for the first time of the man named Martin Luther King. I've tried to follow his example my whole life as a white man, and his picture is on the wall in my office in St. Clairsville along with Booker T. Washington's picture. So it's interesting that here I am, a white man, I was a white boy, and the three people that inspired me most in life were all black men. That continued. I went to law school, and lo and behold, the best professor that I had at law school was a man by the name of Franklin Cleckley. He taught evidence, and it was my favorite course. Frank went on to be the member of our West Virginia University or West Virginia Supreme Court, where he was, in my opinion, the outstanding member. I also had the privilege, my third year in law school, of making the announcement and making the speech to try to get Frank Cleckley elected as our class's outstanding professor. He won by 1 vote and was elected and was named by our class as the outstanding professor. I later moved to Wheeling upon graduation from law school. When I graduated, I kept hearing of this man's name by the name of Clyde Thomas. And I heard mostly that Clyde was a football player. He played for the Wheeling Ironmen. It was a popular professional team here in Wheeling, and Clyde was the star running back. So I thought, oh, this is pretty good. I knew a lot of great black athletes, but in addition to a great black athlete, he was on city council. And the interesting thing was that here in Wheeling, he was the only black man on city council, which was more impressive because we've got we've got a very, very large white population. I think the black population in Wheeling is probably less than 2%. So here was this black man, this football player, who became a city councilman, a leader in our community, which was almost all white. I thought that was pretty impressive. I later got to know Ann and Clyde a little bit better because I built a house in Oak Park Estates here in Wheeling. And Clyde and Ann followed about a year later, built a house right next door. We became neighbors and friends. I not only then got to know Ann and Clyde better, but also their kids. But you know, when I got to meet them, I learned more about who they really were. And they were both people with principles. Ann's still living, and she still is. She's here in the audience tonight, I'm sure. And I've gotten to follow her over the years. I run into her probably 2 or 3 times a year, and we have remained good friends. The thing that is impressive about these two is that they walked the walk. They didn't just talk the talk. They were truly ambassadors, not only for black people, but for all people. And they walked the walk, not just talk the talk. That doesn't mean that they both weren't passionate about issues that affected human beings. They were, not only black people, but also people of all colors and races. And they were quick to speak out. But when they did that, they did it because it needed to be done. They hated bullying. They hated people in authority taking unfair advantage of people, and they would tell them that. But they did it in the right way. And they truly did what Martin Luther King did and what Christ taught in his teachings, that is to love your neighbor as yourself. They truly did that. Ann still does it. And I know that the people in this room that know them know that they did it, and Ann still does it. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons that you at the NAACP have recognized Ann and Clyde Thomas as the ambassadors for goodwill that they are. I congratulate Ann, I pray for Clyde, and I congratulate you, NAACP, for making this very nice award to these two people. Thank you.